Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Relationship Wednesday.
Yeah.
I got my brother Mike here with me. We're going to continue to talk about, for the month of June, the different aspects of fatherhood and whatever rabbit trails we take on that. So hopefully the episodes that you've heard thus far has been enlightening, encouraging, informational, educational, however it may be. But we will hopefully there's something you're able to take away that can make your life better. But anyway, we're going to continue on the thread of where we're talking about just the challenges of fatherhood and all that type of stuff. So we've been talking about just understanding the areas of knowing how to invest in yourself, and you got to love yourself enough to make those investments in yourself and all type of things. And then I finished off with, we were talking about the four different types of ways where you can invest yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Like how you pour back into yourself, like how do you build yourself back up when you're giving out so much. And so we want to build off those couple of points, but today I really want to talk about pressure and how, as a father, and as a man, especially as a father, we got to deal with pressure. Why? Because when you are the father, usually the way God in God's design, of course we have to help me know everything, but really the full weight goes back onto the man. I mean, explain what I mean. This is how God designed. When God created Adam and Eve, God created Adam, and out of Eve came Adam. And then God talked to Adam about how to manage the garden. And he told him what you need to do, so on and so forth. So when Lucifer started talking to Eve about that, she had already gotten the orders from Adam on what to do. But however, when Eve ate the fruit, nothing happened. Like the world stayed the same. But when Adam ate it, everything shifted. So, and that's a great picture of how the weight falls back on the man.
Yeah.
And so, which means that we as men, like when we really want to take on the role of being the man and the father in the home, we're naturally just going to feel that weight of that accountability, understanding that whatever happens in this house or don't happen in this house falls on me.
Yeah.
As the sole weight of that. That's the reason why, thank God for the mothers, but that's the reason why it's harder on the mothers, because the mothers was not designed to hold certain weights that the father was supposed to hold. So that's the reason why it's tougher when a mother has to play both roles, or even if a father has to play both roles when the mother's not there, because it's designed to hold weight. But at the same time, the father holds the majority of the weight. As even Peter said, men take care of your wives as the weaker vessel, not the lesser, but the weaker, in the sense of we're built naturally, anatomically stronger. So basically, we're supposed to be the ones more built to protect and cover all those type of things. And just in how God built us, where the women, and by nature, they're not built to be as strong as men in nature. Now, can someone be strong? Yes, they can. So, but I'm talking about God's design. And the problem is, we live in this world where how the enemy has broken down the roles and basically saying that to be God's design is a negative, but actually God's design is the way things supposed to work at its high optimal way. And so but it never, in the communication of it, if you understand it right, it never is to make anybody feel devalued. It's actually supposed to make everybody feel more valued when it's working the way God's intent. Right. So if you're hitting through that lens. So anyway, my point I'm making is that we in this role, men by nature, when you really want to accept that role, we're going to feel the weight of that. And so now we want to talk about how we deal with the pressures of just being the father, taking care and making sure that the house is running, being the visionary of the house, all that kind of stuff. Because naturally, people may not notice, even though the things have got so killed, because that's one of the other issues, going back to the whole fatherlessness, is that when we've seen young guys see the mother be the visionary of the home, and a lot of times when they get into relationships, the woman end up providing the vision and the men don't have no vision. And that's already a problem, because one of the things, to say is provide. One of the things that a man's not just only supposed to provide, finance. All people always think about house finance. That's an aspect of it, but the foundational provide, it means provision. So vide, the root word of vide means vision. So in other words, the men's primary job is to provide a vision and work the vision and let that vision take care of the family. But a lot of times men don't have no vision because they saw the woman with the vision, so they walk into a house and allow the woman to have the vision, and therefore you get now it kind of creates an off kilter thing. That's a little side note there. We can talk about that another time. But the main thing is, but when the man is providing the vision and he's making sure that we are moving in a certain direction and things are being covered, we're going to feel the weight of that. Meaning just even the basic thing, make sure your kids taken care of, whether it's food, clothing, education, emotional support, your wife, all those things have to be covered, and you're trying to make sure that you step up and do those things. And then also you looking at maybe advancing your purpose and your thing. So it's a lot of stuff we are throwing at us, and so now we feel the weight and the pressures of that. So my scripture I would like to base it off of says, the Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So I believe that scripture speaks to pressure, meaning that when I'm trusting in the Lord with all my heart, it's basically saying it's going to help me manage the pressures that I'm dealing with, because trusting doesn't mean I'll take care of my problems. Trusting meaning that I'm going to be able to have to find a way to let God help me manage and deal with these pressures of just dealing with life. Yeah, so Mike, you want to have anything piggyback on that, or you?
Yeah, pressure, and I hear a lot of people say it. A lot of people do say it. Not sure how much, they stand by it, but pressure is a privilege. And in my eyes, I always go back to the hospital, right? And the pressure that I was under was like, oh, life or death, right? Mm-hmm. In the moment, I couldn't like see that this is an opportunity for growth, right?
Yeah.
In the moment, fear popped up. A lot of things, a lot of emotions you deal with. But looking back, it's like without the pressure of, are you going to believe or not? Then I would have never knew what true faith looked like. You know what I'm saying? So when we get in these situations as men and we accept the role of leader, father, husband, provider, like that's a type of pressure that you should be proud of, because now you have an opportunity for growth. You have an opportunity to lean on God. You have an opportunity to be who you were called to be. So most people don't have the outlet though. And we was talking about that, me and my boy Paul, the other day. Most men don't have the outlet or the safety, if you will, to say, yo, I need help. You know what I'm saying? Because although the pressure is there, and like we say, it is a privilege, but there are times where you're weak. There are times where you need somebody to talk to, where you might get in a situation where you don't really know how to maneuver, and you try to do it in your own strength. And when you do it in your own strength and you might get it wrong, then you feel like you failed, but you don't want to tell nobody because you don't want to look weak. Like all that stuff, we don't have the outlet to go to because we're kind of raised to like, nah, you a man, figure it out on your own, or don't tell nobody because you might look soft, right? So it's the balance between, yes, this pressure I have, but I gotta be a man. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get caught up in that and you don't know where to go and you get your emotions and then you get in your head, then you take it out on your family. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking from like firsthand. And until I was able to be like, all right, I can't do this in my own strength. You know what I'm saying? All right, God, who's the people or who's the person or the men in my life that I deem to be successful in marriage or in this area that I can go to and bring my problems without feeling like, I'm weak. And so when it comes to that pressure and you're feeling it, you got to have that outlet, even if it's like just to get it off your chest, because I think verbally communicating it and just allowing yourself to relieve the pressure at times, like, dog, this is hard. Not saying that you can't do it, but just saying, yo, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got to cry through it, like, it's tough, bro, because what I want in life personally, nobody in my family has done. So the pressure of saying something and then actually executing it, although I can't see, like right now with the senses, how it's going to work out, I still know that I must get the job done. You know what I'm saying? So that pressure is something. And the crazy thing is, like, I used to tell my wife, like, you don't really understand though. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, you like, and it's, of course, women don't understand what it was like to be a man, but I'm like, you don't understand the pressure. And she'd be like, she used to say, you put pressure on yourself. Like, no, I don't. It's not that like I want the pressure, which I do, but it's like it comes with the job.
Right.
Like once you decide to be a real man and take care of your responsibilities and say, I am going to walk in my God-given purpose, like that comes with like storms, battles, mountains, internal personal development, like looking in the mirror, dealing with those demons, forgiving people, not just talking about it but actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing. And to be a leader and to have children that you know are looking up to you, like you have to deal with you. And that's a hard thing to deal with if you're doing it alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think that's why I always I don't know, it's like a metaphor for me. That's why I enjoy getting into the world of bodybuilding, because life is a weight room, meaning in the principles.
Okay.
For example, if you want to get stronger, pressure is required.
Sure.
If you want muscles, pressure. Even if you want to lose weight, pressure is required. You got to put pressure on your cardiovascular system. It's meaning, just to piggyback off your point, the fact that I want something greater or I want to do something better, pressure is connected to that. And how well I embrace the pressure will determine the quality of the return.
Yeah.
And so, but I'll say, just to pull out a couple of points that you said, one thing is that I think one of our greatest enemies that we have to deal with, number one, is the fear of failure. Because the fear of failure always ties back to, not knowing how to build my identity right. Meaning that because you failed, that don't mean you are a failure.
Right.
Because failure comes with winning. But the thing is that if I have tied my identity to my failures, then a lot of times it creates the thing, because the whole thing is that when we say somebody to talk to, only thing you're getting from them primarily is perspective. They're not fixing your problem.
Yeah.
They're not changing anything. All you get is perspective in somebody being able to understand what you're going through, which means that all I'm getting is more so that helping me understand. I guess to give you the deep-seated thing, helping us understand it. Okay, because I'm going through a hard time, I can still win. That is pretty much. It's like isn't that may not being said verbally, but in the conversation, it's sort of like that's my unspoken walk away. Because understanding that the things that make pressure hard, it's for example, when you lifting a weights I can lift is fine, but it's if I go to failure and I can't get that last rep up, I need that spotter to help make sure I get that barbell back on the rack.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the whole thing of saying, all right, pressure is, as long as I know I can do this, it's fine, I'm good. But when I hit a situation where it seems like it's bigger than me, and here's something I realized that even in parenting, because I'm gonna tell you, when Asia was born, I remember looking out the window as Michelle was pushing, because I was like, oh my gosh.
When she was pushing.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I got a child coming to the world. What do I go? Yeah, like my mind was just racing a million things. I'm thinking about, take care of her, make sure she's covered. I mean, my mind was just going a million miles, and everything was just, everything in my head was just making sure I don't fail as a father. Just make sure they have everything. All that was going through my head, And I'm just saying, Michelle, like, when you come over here, I'm like, I hear you, but I'm in my moment right now. And I remember it was raining that night too. It was raining, and I don't know. I was just in my own little world, because just feeling the weight of just that responsibility. But but the pressure was coming from making sure I didn't fail.
Right.
But at the same time, I didn't know enough. But here's the thing I wanted to say about that is, and I've learned this, that whenever God told somebody to be courageous, that's when you're actually doing something right. Because I've learned with God, if you're never scared, you're never doing the will of God.
I heard that too.
Because I'm not saying fear.
Right.
There's a difference between the spirit of fear and being scared.
Yeah.
So when God told Joshua, be courageous, be strong and courageous. In other words, if it didn't require that pressure and that fear of failure and all the stuff you had to deal with, there's no need to be courageous.
And there's no need for like God. If like you can do it in your own strength, then there's no need for faith. You know what I'm saying? There's just, it's me. You know what I'm saying? But I believe the pressure allows you to become like, and I'm gonna use dog in this sense.
The DAWG.
Yeah, it allows that dog to grow if you're willing to embrace this is a part of the formula to greatness. You know what I'm saying? So if I know beforehand, like, oh, this is what it takes. So when it shows up, I won't be shocked by the fact that, you know, I'm shouldering the load of the thing that I actually asked for. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're praying, you're saying. When you're saying, you're praying, right? So when you speak how great you are, who you choose to become, like, I want to make sure I'm walking in purpose. Like one, and I told folk, and I took it from my brother Rigo, if you understood how powerful your words were, you wouldn't say much. And I tell people that all the time. I even tell my wife, like, dog, if you don't like really be intentional about your words, eventually you keep saying that same thing, they're going to seep into your subconscious, and that subconscious is going to seep into your heart, and you're going to start producing those things. So when you say, I am great, when you say all these great things in life, just be prepared for the battle that comes with the growth to get to that greatness. So when that battle shows up, I'm not alarmed, right? Now I know that this is part of the formula. Now I put my head down and I go through it. You know what I'm saying? And then as I go through it, I know I'm not walking alone. And I think that's the best part. I know as I walk through this valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why? Because he's with me. And most people know the verse, but then they don't allow the verse to actually be true, because when they get to that valley, they stop. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's fear, whether it's I don't want to deal with any more pain. The worst and best thing about working out and that last rep, but you can't get it on your own. You know, if you do it while you're in failure, that's like the real growth. Muhammad Ali was like, the workout don't start until you're dead tired, until the reps hurt. So like even on the hill, it don't start until you want to quit. Because after you get out the way, then you allow your mind and God, the spirit, to kind of take over, and you could tap into why you started in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you don't want it, don't talk about it. That's what I say. If you don't want it, don't sign up for it. Don't get married. Don't have children. If you don't want it. But if you do, you know what I'm saying, then be prepared. It's gonna be a war. I seen a little post the other day. It said it was this dude working out. And then there was this dude sitting on the couch eating donuts, big old tummy. And the dude that was working out, it was said, if you want heaven, you're going to have to go through some hell. And then the dude on the couch eating the donuts with the tummy was like, if you want heaven, you're going to have to go through some hell. And then the dude on the couch just said, let me look it up.
So in the meantime, while he looking it up, I just want to say is this. The main thing I would say is you want to see yourself, because I think that at the end of the day, you got to know where you are is not who you are. Because I believe that as long as you see yourself as a failure, it is hard to deal with the pressure. But you have to understand, winners understand. What I mean by that is when you see yourself as a failure, then insecurities kick in, meaning that you don't know how to talk to people that can maybe help give you perspective. You know, you try to do everything on your own because you don't want people to make you feel like you a failure. But winners don't tie their identity to other people's opinions or their situation, and other people who see the good in you, then And a lot of times people who God has in your life are usually going to see the better in you than you see before you see it in yourself sometimes.
That's tough. Yeah.
And a lot of times we got to make sure that we understand. The reason why I found that people who don't know how to deal with the pressure, a lot of times it's not the pressure that gets us. It's the me not understanding that where I am is not who I am. And once I tie the pressures to me thinking that I can't win, that's when a lot of times it gets the best of me.
Right.
But when I know I am a winner, winners feel pressure, winners take hits, winners, but at the same time, as a winner, I understand that. And I just think that if we're going to, as men, work through our situations, we got to discover that my life and my problems don't define me. Who was there, who wasn't, don't define me. So meaning that I have the freedom to be able to find people I can talk to, because usually why don't I talk to somebody? Because I don't want people to think I'm weak. See, understand?
That judgment thing.
Right, but why do you even think that they would see you weak? Like, why does that even bother you? See, because a lot of times that's happened because you already see yourself and you think they're going to see that same thing in you.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so, but winners understand that weakness comes with being strong. And so I'm able to lean on good and talk to good solid people, because I know that this is what winners do. Because even all good winners, real good leaders always have a good team around them.
Right.
Bad leaders don't have a good team around them. So understanding that leaders always know how to, and this is what a good leader does. A good leader actually, from a business standpoint, discover their weaknesses and hire their strengths around their weakness. Because they know that in order for me to be great, I have to know my weaknesses and hire other people who are great in their areas. Yeah. So understanding that they already see themselves as a winner, so they're not insecure in their own identity. That's why they're able to know how to have the right people in their life to be able to manage and deal with the pressures of life. So I'm gonna let you finish your point, then we'll close it out.
So, and I paraphrased it because I wrote it in the group today. So the road to heaven feels like hell, and the road to hell feels like heaven. And the hell is like, if you want like what you're dealing with, whether it's the comfort, right? So hell is like the heaven, which is like the promise, the goal, the dream, right? Heaven on earth. If you want that, it's going to take some pressure. It's going to take some hell to get there. Like it's going to take some sacrifice, some discipline. It's going to take some early mornings, late night. It's going to take a piece of you in order to get there. But the comfort part of it, if you want, like in hell, meaning I'm stagnant, I'm not walking in purpose, I want more, but I'm not willing to give more, and then that's the heaven part, because it's easy. I can sit there, I can eat donuts, I can eat whatever, I can do these things that's not going to advance me, and it's going to be easy. But at the end of the day, I look at it as like, it might be easy now, and I tell folks all the time, when you're on your deathbed, you're going to wish you had the time to do the thing that you didn't do. And now that you don't have the time left, that's when the regret sets in. And the reason I can say that is because I was in a situation where they was like, yo, 3 months. And I don't know, I don't tell most people, but I was so like torn in between, like, am I going to make it out of this thing? I started calling people, texting people, apologizing, trying to make things right. And I was like, I just want more time though. Because it was so many things that I was afraid to do that fear no longer mattered, because the ultimate fear of death was here. So if the ultimate fear is here, then I'd rather go do some little fears, because I ain't trying to leave here yet. So you got to kind of start from the grave and work backwards. Like, okay, what like at the end of the day, my last day on earth, when I look back, what are the things that I wish I would have done, and let me do those now. And those things sometimes come with the fears, come with your parents, your closest people to you telling you, yo, you're not good enough for that. You shouldn't do that because you might fail. Like in the trying to keep you safe, right? Like making sure you're safe. Sometimes like their fears, they can put their fears on you. You know what I'm saying? Like just get a good job, or just, you know, do the bare minimum and make sure like you're comfortable, right? I think a lot of people seek comfort, right? Seek security. But at the end of the day, if you don't take control over your life, then there is no security in that. Because somebody at the drop of a dime could be like, yo, we're terminating this position. And you gotta go. I just spoke to a lady that I was working with, and she's like crying, text message like, they're terminating my position. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, oh, this is opportunity for you to do what it is that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to look at things like, if all things work out, then this apparently is a part of my journey, and this apparently will work out for me. But if my perspective doesn't see it that way, then yes, whatever I think it is will be. So pressure is a privilege. If you want to get the heaven, the dream, heaven on earth, it's going to take some hell to get there. And if you don't, right, then it will be easy, but you'll be living in hell. And then you'll be regretting, and that's the thing, like, people blame their past. They become victims of, the reason I didn't do what I wanted to do is because they did this to me and I ain't have an opportunity, or the reason I am the way I am is because of what happened to me, and I lived this life for the rest of my life, and then I look back and I'm like, bro, I never took control over what was mine, and I allowed the past events, the things that I've been through, to control my perspective of who I was. And then at the end of the day, it's like, bro, we didn't even meet you. We met what you've been through. As opposed to taking what I've been through and like turn it into some type of purpose, which is what I believe, like what God said, all things work out. So if we can see it, like, okay, yes, it happened, but what did I learn from it? Now, is this pain deep enough for me to be the solution for somebody else that's going through it? You know what I'm saying? So, but even with that, it comes pressure, because now I'm in a position where people are looking for hope, and I might be, or my story might be the hope that they're looking for. Right. And I got to be confident enough to stand in that, and then not even like face the judgment that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? And I just talk from my experiences, because these are all things that I've experienced as well.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But it makes you a better human. And then eventually, when you stop caring about the judgment of people, then you're able to be truly who God calls you to be. Because now I'm not worried about what you think of me. You know what I'm saying? Your validation doesn't matter because I've been validated.
Yes. Okay. And so, in landing this plane for the day, I just want to say this. Everything that that Mike was sharing, I feel like is a key, like a lot of good keys and a lot of good points, in just understanding that our attitude about pressure has to be right to deal with it. So I would say is that at the end of the day, because you got a lot of people from different seasons of life, different situations, whatever going through, whatever it may be, and so for us as fathers and as men, knowing how to deal with the affairs of life, all I can say is, to wrap up everything that Mike said, is that there's a champion in all of us, and pressure helps us discover the champion in us. All right?
Facts.
Well, God bless everybody. We'll see you here next time.
Thank you, New York.
Thank you for joining Pastor Wayne Powell Sr. for this edition of Relationship Wednesday. We hope you enjoyed this episode of After I Did. Let's keep the conversation going by leaving your questions and comments in the chat. We also invite you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you are reminded to join us next Wednesday as Pastor Wayne continues this discussion of After I Did.